Two and one. Yeah. We told you they are still coming.
Honorable members, Madam Speaker.
Prayer. Almighty God, who unified the prisoner of God, the goodness have appointed us of leaders and parliament to humanity. We beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor these your servants, who may be pleased to call the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon who assembled and grounded the mayors in your presence. Treat and consider all matters of come their deliberation. Is so just and for the manner to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed.
Item 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I want to welcome you. Thank you for yesterday's special sitting, where we're here to pay tribute to our colleague, Honorable Engola, and some members are in Kololo. That's why you see the house is like this. I appreciate members are in Kololo. I also want to ask colleagues, if you can spare time to go and see off our brother, our colleague on Saturday in Noyam, please do. If you can do that, create that time and go there. Honorable members, this afternoon we have students from Makerere University Business School and Mount Kenya University. They are here to witness the proceedings of today. Please stand up. You're most welcome. This is a parliament of Uganda and a people's parliament, people-centered parliament. Please have a seat. Honorable members, we have some few matters of national importance. We have something that is very urgent from Honorable Chemonges. Then we proceed to business. Honorable Chemonges. I was cutting you short by going to matters of national importance because I knew you'd stand. Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I thank you. And I rise on a procedural matter. Right Honourable Speaker, we all appreciate and know the circumstance that we are in a mood where we lost our fellow member. But Right Honourable Speaker, we are now starting to proceed with the business of Parliament, and the members are going to come up with the matters of national importance. But as you see, Right Honourable Speaker, the front bench is totally empty. Not even one minister representing government, Right Honourable Speaker. Would it be procedure right Honourable Speaker, for you to direct that at least we have even a quarter? Because I was in Kololo and not all the 80 ministers are actually there.
We are going to find out which ministers are in Kololo and where are the others.
Yeah, some are just around, Right Honourable Speaker, hanging. I was in Kololo and very few ministers were there already.
No, we have alternative government. Yes, Honorable Semuja. Honorable Chemonges, how I wish you could present your matter when at least we have a responsible minister. Yes, Honorable Semuja.
Madam Speaker, this matter is a serious matter. We transact business in this house, mainly the business of government. Of course, I know how lousy this government is. But there is no way you're going to receive the order paper and you can't even send, because the ministers, some of them are just given. Remember what the president said when he was sacking the Honorable Saida Bomb. Said, I took her to this Minister of Gender, which is not very useful. You remember in the last parliament. So some of them are in ministry that are not very useful. But the point, Madam Speaker, at least they act as messengers to pick information and take it to their boss. You that you suspend parliament for at least 10 minutes to allow these ministers, wherever they are, because in Kololo they are not there. Some are still hiding. But at least to have a few who can take message, because we don't raise these matters thinking that they are going to find a solution, but at least they carry the message. So, Madam Speaker, I wanted to persuade you to suspend the parliament for 10 minutes and to allow these ministers who are not hiding come and attend to the business of parliament, Right Honorable Speaker.
Can you get me Honorable Musasizi? Honorable members, I am not in the culture of suspending the house. I will conduct business, whether there is only one member, we go ahead. If we have fishermen and fisherwomen, we will know how to sort out that issue when the 2.5 years end. So let's proceed with our business. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on Friday, the Constitutional Court declared null and void the narcotic drugs and the Psychotropic Substances Control Act, of which the basis for that declaration, of course, was on Parliament, of the 9th Parliament, whereby the quorum was not considered. And we are currently observing kind of celebrations in most of parts of the Kampala, whereby there is a misjudgment of the Constitutional Court kind of a decision. So in protecting our youth and children, Right Honorable Speaker, wouldn't it be procedure right, as in Parliament, to reconsider reviewing such that we can put sanity in our youth? Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, even after nullification of the law, the NDA Act has provisions that can be able to be used to regulate. But leaving that aside, we already have a law which was brought by Honorable, the one of Aru, Komakech, in regard to the narcotics, and it will be brought this house. And this is what I've kept telling members. This was thrown out of court because of the quorum, basically quorum. Members of Parliament are paid to come and sit in this house, whether you say nothing, so long as you are able to say yes. Huh? Now, the voters outside there, you're spending taxpayers' money, you're not in the house, the bills are being thrown out because of quorum. You can't even afford to come and sit here and just say the word yes or no. You get it. Let's be fair to Ugandans as members of Parliament. And Ugandans should watch whichever members don't come to the house. They should watch, other than sending liabilities to the house all the time. Yes, is it on the same?
Yes, but I think, Madam Speaker, through your guidance, the honourable member would be praying.
For now, we can use the NDA Act. Next week, we will allow Honorable Komakech to bring in his bill and reconsider. Remember, the anti-homosexuality bill was also thrown out of court because of the quorum.
Yes.
And this time, we did the right thing. And we are going to have that bill assented to, and Ugandans will be happy.
So, Madam Speaker, what I was saying that the honourable member would be praying to be the bill introduced, because this Parliament can't go out looking for.
I have said the bill is already in place, waiting to be brought to the floor, and it will be brought next week. Okay?
We wanted to hear from the Attorney General.
You mean the Attorney General? You mean the Attorney General is the one that allows the matters on the order paper?
With your indulgence,
The order
Madam Speaker.
paper is the preserve of the Speaker. And this house is managed by the Speaker of Parliament, who is none other than AAA. Honorable members, we have Attorney General here, we have Finance here. Smagola, welcome. You've been away. You know, we had issues of mental health yesterday. And we are going to start with the members of Parliament. Checking. Honorable members, can we go to the next item? William, we shall bring your issue when the minister is in, because it's a very serious issue.
Item 3, bills first reading, the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023.
Honorable members, pursuant to Rule 15 to Article 1563 of the Constitution of Uganda and Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act, I now invite the Minister of Finance and Economic Development to table in the supplementary for a supplementary appropriation bill 2023. Yes. And the supplementary that is being tabled is the supplementary of the last financial year. We are finishing the accounting cycle. We cannot go and supply before we have the one of last year being sent to the committee.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, raised on the procedural matter regarding what again I raised last week.
Pardon?
Regarding what you raised last week, and you gave a directive to Minister of Finance, because on the issue of Section 77 of the Public Finance Act regarding Minister of Finance laying the reports of the companies that have exempted taxes, and you gave a directive because they failed to fulfill last week. So you gave them today to bring that report, because last time they had told us that they had communicated to you, yet they are not communicated. So, Right Honorable Speaker, before we go into this procedure of the tax bills and the supplementaries, would the Minister of Finance honor the law and present those reports of the companies that have exempted taxes? Because we are looking for money, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Finance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 30th of March, when the Minister of Finance laid estimates of expenditure and revenue for financial year 2023-2024, he accompanied it with several documents, which includes what Honorable Cooper is asking for.
Honorable Elijah, the document you're asking for was forwarded to Budget Committee. So let's check with the Budget Committee. Once we are not satisfied with it, then we can come back. But the one that we need most is the one on gold. Let's have the one of gold, and kindly want the minister to come and present that report.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, with your guidance, can I now lay the bill?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2023 be read for the first time.
The Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023.
The bill stands referred to the Committee of Budget. Please lay it on table, and that is in furtherance to Rule 129(1) of the Rules of Procedure.
Madam Speaker, for emphasis, the bill is accompanied by the certificate of financial implications, which I also beg to lay on table.
Thank you. And maybe just for avoidance of doubt, this bill is in relation to financial year 2021-2022. We are not supposed to go into supply before this is laid on table and referred to the committee. So the committee will scrutinize it and report back. And still, this is what I've been telling members, the issue of the 3%. Honorable Minister, we may need to see what to do with the 3%. The 3%, when we reject anything from the House here, for you go and hide behind the 3%. And you know, we don't have a law that defines what should be under 3%. So when they come with whatever they have brought, it is retrospective approval. So you just have to approve. You can't do much. I was actually surprised that you left out the 3%. What you need to do is to allow the 3%, but now make a law, bring an amendment such that you know what 3% is going for. So we need to pass the 3%. That is part A, but and give a condition that we should bring a law that defines what the 3% goes for. Next item. Yes. You know, I took this boy to the law school, and now he's making use of the law.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And I indeed appreciate that you give members time to advance. And I'm a party to that. Right Honorable Speaker, under Rule 49, we are entitled here to raise very urgent matters of national importance. And really, they are too urgent. Personally, I've presented to your office over 2 issues that are waiting in my constituents, and the time is not provided for. And the challenges in the constituencies are overwhelming. I beg, by the virtue of Rule 7 and 8 of the Rules of Procedure, you grant me permission to raise these issues. Actually, I fear even to go back to the constituents. I can even turn it to shed tears from here because the matter in the constituents are too alarming.
Please do.
Thank you. Right.
I'm saying go ahead and shed tears.
Right,
Honorable member, it's not just that I don't want you to raise the issues. Are you raising the issues for the camera, or you want the issues to be handled? That is the question. Now here, the issues you're going to raise, none of these ministers can handle. Honorable Kafusi, can you handle? You will only give you a legal advice. However,
I don't know the issues yet, so I don't know whether I will handle or not.
He's of disaster and whichever. But Honorable Tebandeke, if the ministers come in between, I will allow you to raise your issues. But if you think the 3 can handle, please go ahead.
Thank you, Right.
But you don't repeat it.
Yeah, I know my issue, the Attorney General can favorably handle.
Okay.
Yes, is yet to know. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 22nd and the 24th of April, 2023, 2 of my villages, trading centers, were robbed by unidentified persons. And a lot of items were taken away, to include some clinics, some shops, to mention but a few. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 25th of the same month, the one Miss Nalongo Rebecca, the wife to Mr. Man, the resident at Kayonza, was murdered during daylight at 8 a.m. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm aware of the role of police as mandated in Article 212 to protect people and their lives. But I'm also aware of the IGP's directive that scrapped off some of the police stations, creating a vacuum and a challenge for us who have vast areas in the far remote centers that need security. And therefore, it is to my polite request, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Minister of Internal Affairs, since he's not here, but this is a matter of legality, and the Attorney General is here, can create for us foster measures on how to curb the ongoing undefined murder in our societies. And specifically, I would beg, by powers entrusted to Attorney General, because even the directive was not properly scrutinized, to reverse Nachesa police post in order to minimize on the incidences. Not only that, but Kayunga district is becoming a phenomenon being affected by the same incident. Mr. Samanya George of Bosana Chiwangula in Iwantete parish was also murdered during the afternoon time, and therefore such matters are too urgent and cannot wait.
Thank you.
I regret
Order,
for
Madam
having
Speaker.
breached by the rules
Order.
and the
Thank
procedure of
you.
the House.
Thank you.
I beg to submit.
There's an order. Honorable whatever
Madam
the case,
Speaker.
these are matters of law and order, and they are criminal in nature. Let them go and report to police. Police will investigate and give a response. When it means going to court, they go to court. These are matters of criminality. Next item. Macho, you have something to say?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I had rose on a point of order because it will not be order for Honorable who has just left the floor to leave when you had really given him a privilege of crying. You had given him a privilege of crying because he begged for it. He's not in order to leave the floor of Parliament before he cries, because that was his own prayer. Huh? I
You know,
don't
Charles,
know whether he's in order to
Charles,
when he has not cried.
Charles, for you to have cried, you'd have relieved yourself of Mendro. Anyway, next item.
Item 4, laying of papers, corrigendum to the budget for the financial year 2023-2024.
Honorable members, the corrigenda is in relation to the proposed revisions in the budget, which was laid in this house, and that's the budget 2023, financial year 2023-2024, where finance feels they need to make a revision, an increase or a decrease, they make what they call a corrigenda. And we are told the corrigenda is ready today for lay. Can we invite the minister to table the corrigenda?
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the corrigenda to the draft budget estimates for financial year 2023-2024. I beg to lay.
Thank you so much. The corrigenda is accordingly referred to the Committee of Budget for consideration. And honorable members, the budgeting process is a very important process for all of you. This is when you know how much is going to your district, your constituency, and you need to be in this house when they are doing budgeting. That is one of your core roles, appropriation. But if you decide to stay off, then the voters will also know that you're not responsible enough. I thought I was still talking. Proceed on what I'm saying. I've not finished. I've not finished communicating. We are going to do appropriation on Tuesday. We'll supply on Tuesday, and please be here. Thank you. Yes, Lob.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I suppose the Honorable Minister of Finance is alive to the provisions of the Public Finance Management Act, specifically Section 13, subsection 11C, that requires that one of the attachments to the budget is a statement attesting to the reliability and the completeness of the information provided under this section. By laying the corrigenda, the minister is attesting to incompleteness of the figures laid hitherto. And the Advanced Standards Dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, 8th edition, defines corrigenda as a thing to be corrected, typical on record. I would have expected the minister, alongside the corrigenda, to lay a fresh statement of completeness, because the old figures, by laying the corrigenda, attest to incompleteness. Right, Honourable Speaker, wouldn't it be proper that procedurally proper that the corrigenda stands withdrawn until a fresh statement of completeness is laid and conformity is laid before the House? And if the minister forgot in his jacket lays it, that we can have the corrigenda received properly, Honourable Speaker.
We will not withdraw the corrigenda. We will not withdraw it. You can still give it.
Madam Speaker, this corrigenda I have laid is in accordance with the regulation, of course, section 13 of the PFM Act, under which we fulfill all the requirements for the budget, which is further operationalized by the regulations, and under regulation 12(1) of 2016, that it states that an accounting officer of a vote may at any time before Parliament considers the estimates of the vote make a correction of an error or omission made in the estimates submitted by the accounting officer to Parliament. Madam Speaker, our intention in this corrigenda, and even in the dictionary, the corrigenda is a statement of correction of errors.
Actually, from the perspective of budgeting,
Yes,
it is a statement of revision.
yes, and that's what we are doing.
It is.
I think
Now, we are talking as accountants. No, but if you want a statement from him, he will bring it, but this is for revision. We can have it before we pass the budget on Tuesday. Yes, we need it. No problem. Let's proceed. Yes, I hope you're not going to chase Musasis also.
No, the only person, Madam Speaker, we chased was charged in the courts of law, and court granted him temporary freedom to go to hospital, but also to defend himself. So that's why when we are in the committee of budget, I asked him whether he thought the committee was the hospital. But in the case of the Honorable Musasi, not yet.
No,
Madam
we
Speaker,
cannot discuss a person who is not here. So talk about what you wanted to say.
I was only giving information. Madam Speaker, I sit on the budget committee. This has become a practice and not a good one. Government begins to present a budget, documents relating to the budget framework paper. We make proposals. They now bring the estimates themselves. But it is a habit that when you announce, like you have announced today, Madam Speaker, that on Tuesday we will supply, that they come running with the corrigenda, making it very difficult for the committee on budget to scrutinize it because of the times involved. So the guidance I need from you, Madam Speaker, because my friend, the Honorable Musasi, because of what they are going through, they are not very stable. But the guidance I need from you is whether the corrigenda must necessarily be brought in the 11th hour. We've spent almost a whole week, Madam Speaker, you even extended our time in a retreat, looking at the budget, looking at the figures. After completing our work, now the Honorable Musasi walks into Parliament with the corrigenda because the law provides, as if the law says you must bring it one day to supply.
Clarification. Honorable Senator, clarification. Honorable Semuju, can you clarify to us, because you are saying, because of what they are going through, which we don't know, and the way I see Honorable Musa is very stable, the way he's seated there.
Honorable,
can you clarify what
Honorable,
stability you are meaning?
Honorable Elijah, we are on very serious issues. Let's not bring personal issues into the house. Whatever they are going through, it is their business, not our business. One, the budget has to balance. You know, it's unfortunate you're coming from that world, not the world of figures. But when you are coming from the world of figures, those people who went to school who know that debit must be equal to credits. You'll need that agenda for you to be able to balance. Not so, Mish. Mish, you first. I know you're from the accounting world. So one, you should not bring the agenda at the last minute. That should not happen again. But at the same time, we also need it for us to be able to balance the budget. The issues that they are going through are their issues. We'll sort them out after 2.5 years. Yes. Next item.
Item 5, statement by the Prime Minister on alleged enforced disappearances by the state.
The Prime Minister is the chief mourner.
Item 6, bills second reading.
The Prime Minister she's not hiding. She lost her minister, our colleague, a member of parliament here. And now that the burial is not tomorrow, we'll want to hear what the Prime Minister will say tomorrow. We all know that they are all in Kololo, and all of us were invited there. But because we had a lot of work, we had to be here. So let's push that item to tomorrow. At the end of the day, we will have that item. Yes. I've never known you for somebody on procedure.
Yes, because Speaker.
Because first of all, you have a right to speak. You have a right to speak, and that is by law.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Much obliged. And for the same reason that we are mourning the fallen comrade we eulogised yesterday, may it really impress you that you are pleased to have the matter of the Prime Minister as one of the priorities tomorrow, because the biggest worry for the citizenry out there and many families of these people is that they could also be dead. And therefore, the Prime Minister should not run away from presenting her statement of whether contentment or whatever she's packaging for all these weeks. May it please you that we prioritize it tomorrow so that the families can rest their worries, or actually we join them in the morning, these people that have disappeared for more than 2 years. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, government.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I know the position in which I've sat puts me in a particular area, but I've listened to my elder brother Lop. I do understand his concerns, but this house has lost a member, and the Prime Minister is heading the processes of burial because he's being given a befitting burial. I want to pray, while the Lop has suggested that we prioritize the matter for tomorrow, I'd like to pray that next week, Tuesday, when we have enough time to find a resolve, to make resolutions on it.
Honorable members. I have always reminded you that there is one speaker. And once the speaker rules, that's final. Next item.
Item 6, Bill's second reading, the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2023.
Honorable members, last week on Thursday, that was on Thursday, May 2023, we stood over the consideration of the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2023, pending further clarification from the Minister of Works. I don't know if anybody has powers. Honorable Musa said he had been given powers to come and defend that bill. Is he still in? And on the issues of the legal implications. And if he does not have the powers, yes. Honorable Muzasi, we first need a clarification from him.
Madam Speaker, under Rule 114, the minister who is standing in for your colleague must, as by our rules, inform you, Madam Speaker. But even you are now asking whether he has the power, which means they have not communicated to you under rule.
I am saying he informed me he has been instructed. I want to know the limit of his instruction. Honorable Musasisi. We are looking at the bill second reading, which was stood over. That is the the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2023. It was stood over because we needed a clarification from Ministry of Works and Legal. So what we are asking you, do you have the powers to defend this bill?
Madam Speaker, the minister is not here, but the information is with us, and we can be able to present it.
So they gave you permission to do that?
Madam Speaker, I have the information.
We wanted the Minister of Works to be in the house and come and act and handle this bill, because there are issues that were being raised from the minority report. If you're not ready, we can stand over it.
Madam Speaker, since the matters are specific to the Ministry of Works, I pray that we handle the bill when the Minister of Works is able to come to the House.
Thank you.
Item 7, Bill's second reading, the Convention on Mutual Administrative Assistance in Tax Matters Implementation Bill 2023.
Honorable members, from the communication that we got from the chairperson of Finance, the Committee of Finance, we realized that this bill was referred. There was a deferral of this bill, and in the interest of time, maybe we can invite the chair to give the House what he thinks and what proposals he has.
Madam Speaker, these are treaties that were signed, that have been signed over years. Some date back to 2010, 2013, 2014. Now, the committee has not received these treaties, although they promised us that they are readily available, but we've not received them in order to compare them with what they have in the bill. But the bill itself is intended to give force to those treaties that were signed so that they can exchange information here in Uganda. The committee, as a result, the committee is recommending that the Convention on Mutual Administrative Assistance in Tax Matters Implementation Bill 2023 be deferred on the basis that there is need for more information and adequate time to be availed for the committee to examine in detail and make inquiries in relation to the bill. We've agreed on this with the Minister of Finance and the Attorney General, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Finance. You have a clarification?
Madam Speaker, this is a very, very important convention. And what is very surprising by the ministry is that we have such a very important convention that would be helping you to mobilize revenue, and you are not able to present to the committee enough information to be able to make the decision forward. Madam Speaker, this convention is to enable our revenue authorities to be able to obtain information, especially when they are doing multinational auditing, where you have companies involved in tax schemes like transfer pricing. This is an instrument that would help them reach out to other destinations to be able to get information so that we can be able to assess the right tax. So I'm very surprised that the ministry that has tabled here bills, we are also dealing with the budget. And as you said, Madam Speaker, the debit must balance with the credit. Where are you going to get money if you continue to be very unprepared by withdrawing clauses of the bills, by not giving information to enable the committees, give the House the right information? It's very disappointing that we are not able to move forward on that particular amendment because of unpreparedness by the ministry. So, Madam Speaker, by the time the ministry tables bills here, we need to be sure that they have prepared enough. And I think that it's high time we started receiving these bills at the time when we are receiving the budget framework paper, so that there is enough time for us to examine it. And by the time we reach such a stage, we have enough information to move forward. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I want to refer the House to Rule 40. That is in regards to treaties, protocols, and international agreements. The minister should always adhere to that, have that information available for you to be able to, before you lay the bill on table, you should have all that in place. And basically that is from government. It's not from anybody else. So the committee cannot continue once government has not provided them what they need. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was in this House when we raised the issue of treaties, protocols, and conventions. And at that time, what we wanted was, because signing or ratifying treaties and conventions and protocols have implications, including financial implications, we wanted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to come to this House and lay for us on table the list of all the treaties and conventions so that we can select treaties, conventions, and protocols that are beneficial to Uganda because they have financial implication in terms of subscription, membership, and so on. Up to now, we have not got that list in this House. So will it not be procedurally right for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to bring for us all the list the entire list of conventions and treaties Uganda signed and ratified to this house. Thank you.
When you look at Rule 40, it says the minister responsible for treaties, protocols, or international agreements shall lay before Parliament a treaty, a protocol, or international agreement entered into by the government of Uganda within 6 months after it has been concluded. The Committee of Foreign Affairs shall examine the treaty, protocol, or international agreement laid before Parliament and shall report to the House within 45 days. The question is, do we have any treaties? Do we have any protocols? Do we have any international agreements? And have they been laid on the floor of the House? Maybe let's first hear from the minister. I'll come. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, it is true, when we had a discussion with the committee, we realized the need for the committee to have more time to be given the agreements, and we agreed that this bill be deferred to a future date in order for us to allow time to satisfy the committee with all the information to enable them make a justified and a convincing recommendation.
Isn't this one of the ways of you raising money? To budget, I mean to finance your budget?
It is one of the ways, Madam Speaker, of facilitating us raise money. It's a facilitating measure.
Yeah, it is a facilitating measure. So aren't we losing out on the facilitation of raising money?
Madam Speaker, this will not take long. I want to believe that by the time we come to 1st July, we shall have passed this bill.
So we are passing the bill after supply?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The information I have is that Uganda has executed tax agreements with about 11 countries, and these agreements have a very gross implication for this country. It has been established that these treaties actually erode our tax base and they facilitate profit shifting in this country. And because we have to pass budget, as we have to pass the budget on Tuesday, as guided by you, Madam Speaker, if we do not review these treaties between now and Tuesday, there will be a serious problem, because what we do in passing the budget must align with the proposals they are going to have in those treaties. And the ministry had indicated to us that they are going to review these treaties. To date, nothing has happened. Therefore, we must really find a way. I would think you initiate a team of technical people. They should go and consult out and maybe report to the houses that there's a middle ground found to deal with this matter. Otherwise, you ask a very, very good question.
Clarification.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the clarification I would want to seek from my brother, Honorable Guzleri, is in regard to the treaties, the agreements that Uganda has signed with those countries. If he could lay them on table for us.
And
also
the
to
11,
enable-
the 11 countries.
Yeah, because otherwise we are actually legislating here in anticipation. So I wanted to see those agreements also so that we can work together to see that these people do the right thing before us. That's the clarification I want to seek.
That whatever you're saying should be backed up by evidence. If you're saying they signed with 11 countries, do you have evidence to that, or it is just a mere hearsay?
Madam Speaker, this government has signed double tax agreement with Mauritius. This government has signed that.
Give us that agreement.
The responsibility to lay that on table is for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So now that you don't listen, now that you don't have, let the people with authority who have the agreements talk. And what we need, we want you to bring those agreements. Can we agree that you come and lay those agreements on table and the committee takes up with the agreements? We need the agreements. Can we have the agreements?
Madam Speaker.
First of all, do you have them? Have you signed any treaty?
Yes, we have the agreement.
So where are you keeping them?
Madam Speaker, I want to pray for the indulgence of the House that we provide all the information that this bill will be allowed time to provide the information to the committee which they have asked for. We are not withdrawing the bill. We are asking for time to have more interactions with the committee. We present the agreements to them, and then the committee, when it comes to report to the House, all this information shall be provided.
When can you give the committee those agreements?
Madam Speaker, I am now focused on the supply. After the supply, I will provide the information.
You're giving an order on who?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Of course, Right Honourable Speaker, even a baby can tell a government in disarray when they see one. And you don't have to have a PhD in political science to see that the government is in disarray. Right Honourable Speaker, certainly there's a reason why a committee can demand for these agreements over a matter before Parliament, and they're not coming through. Definitely, for members of the House who are keen, they will know that some of these agreements have far-reaching implications on even citizens, including accessing their bank accounts and so on and so forth. And therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, the minister is not ready and does not sound confidently informed. Secondly, I think for this particular afternoon, enough shame has been invested on this House. May it please you, Honourable Speaker, to adjourn.
Not on this House, enough shame on the persons.
Certainly.
For us, we shall move to more serious business. Let the shame remain with them. For us, we are now going to get the reports.
And you know, Right Honourable Speaker, what's very serious, because the government has 3 prime ministers. The order paper, in most cases, is made in consultation with the Speaker to do.
You don't do that to the LOP.
The LOP can cede ground, but let me first make this point, and I'll cede. The order paper is congested, and members have business, but they leave their business because government business is a priority under the rules. And we are skipping issue by issue on the order paper, Right Honourable Speaker. It's not just absence, they're just lackluster. Right Honourable Speaker, I think one of the reawakening issues is for you to be pleased to halt this business. Under the rules, under the PFMA, section 14.2, you can actually stay supply. You can see he's eager to supply that he can go and supply air.
No, he's
subsequently.
eager because I've given him a deadline. I am the one who has given a deadline. Can we have
May you
the
invoke
road-
your powers under
Can
14?
we have the road, the traffic, and then the conventions first on Tuesday? Go and provide the information required. I want that bill on the floor on Tuesday before we go to supply.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. On Tuesday, we shall have finalized. We are going to start tomorrow.
You're going to present on Tuesday to the floor.
On Tuesday, we are going to present.
Yes.
Because part of the information, I already have it here, Madam Speaker.
Well, the documents you're supposed to give it to the committee. That's what you're supposed to have done, but you never did it. And we are saying we must have that on Tuesday. The two bills must be on the floor on Tuesday.
Honorable Speaker, I beg your indulgence. Honorable Speaker, I don't know why ministers find it difficult to speak the truth. Right, Honorable Speaker, we canvassed this issue in an harmonized, when we are harmonizing, and we agreed that given the weight of this mutual bill, we go through the whole tax and expenditure process. Then when we are done, because Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know why the ministers fail to stand with even the commitments they've made when we meet. In the meeting, we analyzed that the other bill is fairly big and has fairly far-reaching implication. And we agreed that we needed to give it proper time.
Just before you finish, these agreements we are talking about are from 2014 and to 2021. Now, if you cannot be updating the house regularly, the 6 months provided for, you find a challenge in all this. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, we agreed with the minister that the mutual agreement is mutual conventional agreement requires deeper scrutiny than the time available to us during the budget process. And for us to do justice to that, is that we required the time, convention, is that we required the time when you have offloaded off the tax bill and the expenditure schedule, and we critically analyze those agreements, analyze the content of this agreement, and then because it has far-reaching implication, it even required a committee to work extraordinarily, maybe in a retreat. So we agreed that time is not a variable. I'm not in for it. I don't sleep in hotels. Don't laugh. Those who work with me know. When you go for a tour, I sleep home. So don't say I'm interested.
I've never seen you lose your head like that.
No, when I said the retreat, he said he laughed, the Attorney General.
Who laughed? I mean, did you want him to be gloomy all the time?
Let me continue. So we agreed that, Honorable Speaker, is that we will continue with this work and give it clear due justice when we are done with the tax and expenditure, and give it proper justice. We were very alert some time back when the Parliament tried to ratify the Terrorism Convention. We realized that there had been a lot of local engineering in the definition. And on scrutiny, had we adopted the definition that had been suggested in the bill, then we would really have tightened up for Ugandans. So these agreements on the surface, they look innocent, as if they are here for ratification. But when you look into the details, how they are going to have access to your private bank accounts, how they will have uncontrolled access, it has a lot of implication. So, Madam Speaker, we would beg for your indulgence that don't press the issue of the convention on Tuesday, is that we go back to it as we had agreed.
I want to refer you to Rule 2222. 222.
report. I don't have
A
it.
decision has already been taken. Let them come back. Next item.
Item 8.
Honorable members, before we go to the next item, I have been saying in this house on matters of declaration to IGG. Some of you have not declared up to now. I don't know what's wrong with my members. I have a list of 21 members who have not declared. Just go and declare your liabilities if you don't have assets. You're going to declare your income, assets, and liabilities. Now, if you don't have assets, at least you have income. Huh? And I want you to cross-check. I have been calling a number of you. I hope you've sorted out yourselves. But I have a letter of 21 members who have not declared. And you know that is good enough to get you out of this house. You look at Luchamus's case. There's already precedence to that effect. So better check and make sure you declare.
That very matter, I remember raising a matter and laying a letter you asked me to bring here about the president stopping IGG, stopping senior officers in their declaring their wealth. And you directed the Attorney General to come and explain the legality of that letter. Because maybe even among the 25, there might be the UPDF.
They are not UPDF.
If
I
they
am
are
not
not-
of my members of parliament. Don't divert
Madam
us.
Speaker,
Let's first sort out our issue. Our issue of members of parliament. Let's first protect ours.
Madam Speaker, they are also members of parliament.
No, they are not involved.
But with your mass and the indulgence,
I
you
have a list.
directed.
I am the one with a list.
No, I'm
If
talking
you've
about
not
to-
gotten my call, then you're not part of it. Okay?
I'm talking about the letter I laid here.
Next item.
Item 8, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government on the report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2021-2022.
Honorable members, under Article 163 of the Constitution, it requires Parliament to conclude consideration of Auditor General's reports within 6 months. I am pleased to note that the Public Accounts Committee, Local Government, is ready to report, and I want to thank you, Matthias, Honorable Matthias, because of your leadership that you can now present reports within the 6 months. I am really humble and very grateful that this is happening. Now we have the chairman of local government, public accounts, local government. And he has been a very organized chairperson. I want to thank you so much. Chair, can you give us a report of?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you.
Avuru, you wait and listen to the chairmans. You sit in front here so that you don't escape.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Semuju Ibrahim of Kira Road. Kira Road Police.
Madam Speaker, chairpersons of committees are appointed by political parties. I am a whip of a political party. As far as I know, that particular organized chairperson was withdrawn by the party that appointed him. Under whose authority, Madam Speaker, is this particular organized chairperson making this presentation?
The chairman does not belong to a political party, but to Parliament of Uganda. And I don't remember designating that chairman being designated too. And I am the whip of independence. Just to inform you, I'm the whip of independence, and my independent is a chairperson of PAC local government.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the
And Honorable Lope and your team, thank you for giving my independence also to chair.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving the opportunity to our committee to present this report. And as I present this report, Right Honorable Speaker, I have the honor to report on the public accounts local government report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2021-2022 on 27 district local governments, 3 cities, 4 divisions, and 5 municipalities. And as I do that, Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to begin by first laying on table the minute of the committee reports for this particular report I'm presenting. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to also lay a copy of the report that I am presenting. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, as you could have already noticed from the report we have prepared, it's a report of over 500 pages covering about 38 local government entities. And because of that, Right Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we prepared an executive summary that I'll request you to grant me the permission to take you through. And in case the members would like to get more details, they can look at the bigger document. Right Honorable Speaker, I present an executive summary of the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on audited reports on 27 district local governments, 3 cities, and 4 divisions, and 5 municipal councils for the financial year 2021-2022. Right Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Article 163(5)(a) of the Constitution and the Rule 182(5) of the Rules of Procedure, the Committee on Public Accounts Local Government considered the report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2021-2022 and wishes to report its findings to this House. This report, Right Honorable Speaker, covers the key issues in the report, which will be categorized in 2 sections, namely key issues in local governments and key audit matters, and that is to say general and cross-cutting queries in the local governments. This report, Right Honorable Speaker, has been compiled based on the findings of the Auditor General and observations of the committee, mainly to show the current state of local governments and to aid policymakers in improving the performance of local governments as highlighted below. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to start with key issues in local governments. And I will specifically start with Vote 576, and that is Bulisa District Local Government, which has a qualified opinion. And under that, Right Honorable Speaker, I will start with non-recognition of advances paid to various contractors. The audit report revealed after a review of the IMFS payment file that the district made advances, payments amounting to 638,562,778 shillings to various suppliers. However, a review of the trial balance noted that respective journal entries were not done to recognize them as receivables. Right Honorable Speaker, the accounting officer gave his part of the story, and the committee observed the following. 1, the committee observed that there was no, the explanation given by the accounting officer did not have any valid evidence. Number 2, there was negligence on the side of the accounting officer by failing to prepare the necessary ledgers for purposes of posting these transactions to the trial balance. And therefore, the committee recommended that the accounting officer should be held personally liable for failure to prepare the necessary ledgers and omitting transactions from the trial balance. 1.1 looks at absence of a schedule of verified arrears. Right Honorable Speaker, the audit report revealed after a review of note 24 on page 25 of the financial statements that the entity disclosed payables amounting to 238,839,782 shilling. However, there were no schedules of verified arrears by internal audit department attached showing the breakdown of amounts owed to the respective suppliers and employees. The accounting officer explained that this was an oversight and the schedules would be availed. And the committee observed the following, that the failure by the accounting officer to provide verified creditors and other liability account lists that tally with the schedule of domestic arrears contravene Guideline 6.9 of the Financial Reporting Guide 2008. And the recommendations are: 1, the accounting officer should be held personally liable by PSSG. 2, the accounting officer should ensure that verified creditors and other liabilities list are always availed for purposes of preparation of financial statements. Number 1.2, absence of schedule of deposit received. The audit report revealed after a review of note 25 on page 26 of the financial statement that the district a total deposit, and that is under YLP and OWEP, amounting to Uganda shilling 482,985,250 shilling. However, there were no detailed schedules showing amounts received from Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, repayments made and the outstanding amounts as the year end. The accounting officer explained that this was an oversight and the schedules would be availed. The committee observed that the lack of schedules is a sign of negligence by the accounting officer and his staff, but also create rooms for misappropriation. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee provided recommendation and we refer to the earlier recommendation we gave. Number 3, which is 1.3, unaccounted for funds. The audit report revealed after reviewing expenditure vouchers that payments amounting to 240,409,967 shilling were not accounted for at the time of the audit. For example, there were no payment sheets, no reports, no receipts, and no invoices. The committee observed that this was later on availed with document pertaining to the 240 million and found it satisfactory. The committee therefore recommends that the accounting officer should be cautioned by PSST for his negligence. Right Honorable Speaker, I will take you to vote 628, and that is Chikube District Local Government, which had unqualified audit opinion.
Are you looking at vote by vote? Because most of these things are generic.
There are only 3 entities that I'm providing specific, and then we'll look at the general cross-cutting. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Tebandeke, first wait and pass your report. This is an opposition report.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Under Chikube District Local Government, number 1 is funding and absorption of wage, pension, and gratuity. The audit report revealed that Chikube District received 100% of its budget, amounting to 13,140,576,822 shilling, and spent 10,819,867,416 shilling. Amount resulting to an unspent balance of 2,320,709,406 shilling, representing 18% under absorption. The accounting officer explained, Right Honorable Speaker, that the under absorption of salaries was caused by delayed completion of recruitment process by the District Service Commission. 2, under absorption of pension and gratuity was caused by the IPPS issues that made them unable to pay pension and gratuity. And 3, absence of a functional District Service Commission. The committee observed the following: 1, the district did not have a functional District Service Commission, and the accounting officer did not provide the required technical guidance to the district executive or council on the need to borrow the services of another District Service Commission. 2, later, in an attempt to recruit, the district hired the services of Kibale District Service Commission, but the recruitment process was suspended due to allegation of bribery in the recruitment process. The district went ahead to re-advertise the same positions in total disregard of the earlier advertisement and applications who had shown interest. 3, the committee observed clear signs of conflict of interest, sabotage, and ring fencing of certain positions to favor some officers who are in acting positions, hence stalling and putting into question the credibility of the recruitment process. 4, most of the senior positions, and those include heads of department and sectors, were in acting capacity. For example, the district engineer, district education officer, district health officer, principal human resource officer, district planner, head of production, district community development officer, and others were all in acting capacity. Despite clearance from Ministry of Public Service to fill the vacant positions, the accounting officer had failed to proceed due to constant conflict of interest in the district. 6, the principal assistant secretary, 1, Mr. Muganzi Samuel, was acting in several administrative positions, secretary to land board, transport officer, chairperson, physical planning committee, among others. These has serious implications on his performance and also raise a suspicion on the motives of the assignment. 7, there was negligence and connivance by staff to ring fence key positions. And 8, the committee observed that the PAS, which is the principal assistant secretary and the senior human resource officer, had presented forged accountability documents to the committee. Recommendations. 1, PSST should hold the accounting officer personally liable and reprimand him for failing to perform his duties and causing the return of funds to the consolidated fund. 2, the accounting officer should relieve the current secretary to the District Service Commission, Mr. Joel Munyagire, who has been on assignment, and replace him with a more competent officer as the district undertakes the process of substantively filling the vacant positions of Secretary, District Service Commission. 3, all the vacant positions that have been cleared by Ministry of Public Service should be filled expeditiously. 4, the PSST should hold the accounting officer personally liable for causing financial loss to government through the unnecessary readvertisement of the same position which had already been advertised earlier on. And 5, the principal assistant secretary, Mr. Muganzi Samuel, and the senior human resource officer, Patrick Businje, be investigated by police for the alleged forgery of accountability documents with a view of possible prosecution. Right Honorable Speaker, in the interest of time, the next is Oima City, and I'll request that members look at the details and I go to observations and recommendations. But just to throw more light, the audit report revealed after a review of the trial balance that the division did not disclose account item code for transaction amounting to 720,895,147, and that is under Oima City West Division. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee made observations and recommend that the PSST should reprimand the accounting officer and hold him personally liable for contravening guideline 2.8 as mentioned above. And the next recommendation is that the accounting officer should strict adherence to guideline 2.8 as stipulated. Vote 537, Right Honorable Speaker, is Mbarara District Local Government with unqualified audit opinion. Right Honorable Speaker, under this, we are looking at titling and transfers. The audit report noted that the entity had 78 pieces of land measuring approximately 235.6533 hectares. The entity did not have land titles for 68 pieces of land measuring approximately 113.9 hectares, and the entity had taken 49 years from the time of acquisition without obtaining those documents. Right Honorable Speaker, just to take you to the observation, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee observed laxity by the accounting officer to title the land, and this section 49C of the Land Act, Cap 227. 2, some steps had been undertaken to have certain lands titled. 3, the district is involved in a number of land disputes. A case in point is one involving one of its tenants called King of Kings. And and the land is 2.5 acres, which matter had been hampered by the prosecution case at the anti-corruption court. And another case is one involving the district and Amproc, a company called Amproc, where Amproc sought for 49 years lease of district land and paid a total of 200 million out of 1.1 billion premium as per the agreement, and was supposed to settle an outstanding balance of 900 million in 5 years following delays by the tenant. The district, on the other hand, assumed that the 200 million ran contrary to the agreement. Right, Honorable Speaker, there was also laxity on the side of the tenant to fulfill the agreement as had been suggested. We have recommendations. One, the accounting officer should engage Amproc and have this matter resolved as advised by Solicitor General, and since the company had already made a down payment of 200 million. This would save the district from unnecessary legal consequences and causing financial loss to government. Two, Amproc should fulfill its obligation as guided by the Solicitor General and complete the payment, in other words, the balance left as per the valuation report. Three, the accounting officer should make sure that follow-up is made to obtain the ruling from the anti-corruption court to guide on the process of engaging King of Kings Ministries in resolving the land matter. And finally, the accounting officer should ensure that all lands are belonging to Mbarara District local government that have been encroached upon are free from all encumbrances and fully documented and titled. Right, Honorable Speaker, the next one is also the same, unutilized land. And to take members faster, I will take us to recommendation. The committee again recommended that since there are several land issues in Mbarara District local government, the committee recommends that a forensic audit be conducted on all public lands and land owned by the entity. Right, Honorable Speaker, the next recommendation is an emphasis for the accounting officer to ensure that all untitled land are given priority in the next financial year. Right, Honorable Speaker, I now take you through other key audit matters in local government, and this looks at general and cross-cutting issues. 3.1, budget performance for financial year 2021-2022. The committee has considered audit report for 35 votes under local government for financial year 2021-22 that were appropriated public funds, and in total 39 entities audit reports were considered. Roman number 1, total appropriated budget to local government for financial year 2021-2022. Right, Honorable Speaker, Parliament appropriated a total sum of 5,995 billion to all local governments, out of which 5,426 billion, equivalent of 91% of the approved budget. The shortfall in revenue performance, right, Honorable Speaker, is 568 billion during the financial year based on the warrant. Right, Honorable Speaker, the total local revenue approved for all the local government, all this local government, I am providing the report, is 223 billion, of which 131 billion was released back to the local government, representing 59%. This warrant or releases based on what the local government collect and is deposited with the consolidated as part of the requirement of Section 29(2) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015. The 35 local government votes considered in the audit report, right, Honorable Speaker, had a total approved budget of 41 billion, 41.4 under local.
Chair, Natural Resources, let's approve this report, then you go. Let's approve the report.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Can you summarize your report?
Thank you, right, Honorable Speaker. By close of the financial year, a total of 25.89 billion was availed to local governments, translating into 63% release. Right, Honorable Speaker. Number 3, Roman number 3, looks at local government absorption capacity. The 35 local government votes considered were warranted to a total of Uganda shilling 1,275.2 billion. An equivalent of 21.3% of the total warrants to the local government budget during the financial year, and this exclude the local revenues. Right, Honorable Speaker, out of the 1.278, out of the 1,278.2 billion resources warranted to 35 local governments, only 1,163.9 was expended, representing 91% absorption of the budget release. In this regard, 114 billion was returned to the consolidated fund as a result of failure to absorb the resources. And this is from the 38 local government that we are reporting. Right, Honorable Speaker, in overall, out of the 5,426.9 billion that was appropriated to all local governments, 4,723 billion was utilized, and leaving an unspent balance of 703 billion returned back to Treasury. Right, Honorable Speaker, I have provided a detailed breakdown on all and I have indicated even the performances of the respective local government entities, showing those that performed well and those that did not perform well, including details of how much money each entity returned. For example, Right Honorable Speaker, Mbarara City alone returned 18 billion. Isinjiro District Local Government returned 10.8 billion. Chegegwa returned 9.8 billion. Kagadi District returned 9.8, and many others. Right Honorable Speaker, there are also local governments that perform well, and these local governments include districts like...
Honorable members, when you look at the issue of absorption, that's why it is not good for us to approve these supplementaries at the last moment. Because you're giving somebody money, the person cannot absorb the money. Like we have just given them money. Are you sure they're going to spend that money? They are not going to spend the money.
Right Honorable Speaker, as I said, there are local government entities that are equally performing well with very high absorption level, and these local governments include Bushenyi, Ishaka Municipality, Ibanda District, Rukunjiri District, Kamwenge, and many others. There are also districts that have performed terribly, and they need to be mentioned. And this district include Mbarara City with 67 absorption capacity, Ntungamo 64, Ntoroko 76, Fort Poto 77, and Oima City 77, and Kabale Municipal Council 77. These are below expectation. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have provided recommendations, and just to be specific, most of the local government explained that their absorption were majorly rotating around the failure to recruit, failure to have teachers posted by Ministry of Education and Sports, and also the issue of use meet, where large sums of monies meant for road works were returned because the procurement processes got delayed, and U-gift. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have provided recommendations. Under that recommendation 1, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should account for the under-released funds to the local governments. 2, entities whose absorption of funds were below 80 be subjected to further investigation to ascertain the underlying factors for the gross underperformance. Right, Honorable Speaker. 3, the accounting officers should develop clear revenue enhancement plans to assist the district in future revenue mobilization. And finally, accounting officers should make follow-up with the Minister of Finance on the shortfalls affecting service delivery. Next, Right, Honorable Speaker, is number 3.2, government preparedness to implement the parish development model. Without giving the background, of course, you already know the background. During the financial year 2021-22, 169 local governments had an approved total budget of 175,429,879,581 shillings for PDM activities, out of which the entities received only 108,857,715,367 shilling, representing 62%, leading to a total shortfall of 66.5 billion. and that represents a shortfall of 38%. Right Honorable Speaker, a review of the audit on government preparedness to implement this intervention indicated that during the financial year mentioned, a number of local governments received funds for implementation of PDM activities without guidance on how funds in a number of local governments would be used, contrary to Regulation 16.1 of the PFMR 2016. Therefore, the initially planned activities under gadgets and tools and staff cost and administrative expenses were not implemented. Right Honorable Speaker, underfunding of PDM SACCOs. The audit report noted that a number of SACCOs received varying amounts in this particular financial year we are reporting on, ranging from 2.3 million to about 17 million. While other SACCOs did not receive any funding, the funding variation were due to lack of accurate data on the number of parishes. Right Honorable Speaker, payment of PDM SACCOs before registration, and that is under Roman number 4. The audit report revealed that in some local governments, money for revolving funds was transferred to the SACCOs that were neither registered under the Cooperative Societies Act nor a signed parish revolving fund financing agreement. Roman number 5, Right Honorable Speaker, failure to send funds directly to the PDM SACCOs. The audit report revealed that in some local government entities, funds were released by means of finance to the district account instead of the beneficiary PDM SACCO accounts, contrary to the guidelines. And as a result, some of these local governments diverted the money from the revolving fund to administrative activities without the PSST's guidance. For example, in Uganda Municipal Council, a total amount of 32,787,050 shilling was diverted from having gadgets and tools to revolving fund for subsequent disbursement to registered SACCOs. Number 6, Right Honorable Speaker, unutilized funds on SACCOs account. Again, the committee realized that there are several SACCOs that have money redundant on the accounts and have not been utilized. Even money sent for the last financial year to this day have not been utilized. Next is the number 6, Roman number 6. The audit report noted irregularities in the recruitment of parish chief, and these were people meant to carry out mobilization, sensitization, and creating awareness on the PDM programs. And the committee has provided several recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, and I would request members to run through. Next, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee has provided several observations, and the committee would like to recommend that 1, PSST should always ensure that funds are channeled directly to the registered PDM SACCOs in line with the guideline. 2, government through the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should harmonize the issuance of guidelines. Right Honorable Speaker, there are a lot of contradiction. PDM Secretariat would send a guideline, then another one comes from Ministry of Finance. So this is causing a lot of conflict, and the entities are failing to do their part. We're also recommending that release of funds and issuance of implementation guidelines should be handled concurrently. Right Honorable Speaker, you find money sent today and the guideline comes after several months, and that is causing problem. Number 4, all monies that were swept back relating to PDM activities be reverted for continuity of the project. Roman number 3.3 is payroll management in local governments. Right Honorable Speaker, the audit report revealed a number of challenges that persisted in the previous, based on previous recommendations and resolutions, and I would like to request that members look through. We have provided in the main report. Let me take you through number 3.31, funding and absorption of wage, pension, and gratuity. The report indicated that 554.583 billion was appropriated to these entities that I'm reporting on to meet salaries, gratuities, and pension by close of the financial year. Interestingly, by end of financial year, out of the 554.29 billion had been availed to pay salaries, and only 524.44 billion was actually absorbed, leaving a total an absorption of 29.845 billion, which was meant for paying pension, salaries, and gratuity, unabsorbed and returned back to the consolidated fund. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have also realized that this lack of absorption stems from delays by District Service Commission, by the districts to constitute the District Service Commission. For example, in Toroko District Local Government took almost 2 years to identify and fully constitute their District Service Commission. There is also late release of recruitment and wage funds by the Minister of Finance, and most local government received this funding towards the end of the financial year and are therefore not able to recruit timely. There is also, there are cases of receiving monies in excess of what is planned. For example, in Rukiga District, they receive an excess of 850,962,074 shilling in excess. And there is also delays in the submission of requirements for access to pension and gratuity payroll, and inconsistency in the biodata between the IPPS and NIRA. We have provided observations, Right Honorable Speaker, and permit me to take you straight to recommendations. Recommendation 1, PSST should all accounting officers who fail to ensure timely recruitment of staff personally liable and reprimand them for causing return of funds to consolidated fund. 2, the accounting officers should institute measures that will ensure timely declaration of vacant positions to the District Service Commission. And the Education Service Commission should ensure strict and timely adherence to recruitment plans to avoid delays in staff recruitment. Local governments should ensure that they are fully constituted District Service Commission to enable timely recruitment of staff. And also, number 5, the provision of the Negotiating, Consultative and Dispute Settlement Machinery Act 2008 should be adhered to. The Minister of Local Government should review the policy on the constitution of the District Service Commission and create a specific time frame within which district councils can constitute. Right, Honorable Speaker, there are many district councils that engage in mere politicking and fail to constitute. And we are recommending that the Minister of Local Government should give a specific time within which each district have this service commission fully constituted the moment the positions fall vacant. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Public Service should ensure that there is a specific time frame within which responses to permission to recruit from local governments are granted. We experienced, Right Honorable Speaker, like in Kabarole, where they requested for permission to recruit. Last year in July and up to this year, March, they'd never received any response from Minister of Public Service, and that causes serious delays in the recruitment of staff. Right Honorable Speaker, accounting officers who fail to ensure that vacant positions are filled after permission to recruit has been granted should be held personally liable and reprimanded for undermining service delivery. Next is 3.4, payment of ineligible persons. Right Honorable Speaker, government lost billions of money due to payment of salaries to ineligible teachers in various local government. The individuals discovered in secondary school and tertiary institutions use forged minute numbers to access government payroll. A case in point is Kanungu District Local Government with 12 individuals who forged minutes and earn a total of 97.7 million. And in Kasese District Local Government, 8 secondary school teachers forged documents and earn a total of 83.9 million. Right Honorable Speaker, there are also cases of overpayment and underpayment of salaries, pension, and gratuity. We have provided details, and we have also provided observations as a committee. Permit me to take you to recommendations. Recommendation 1, the accounting officers of the affected local governments should in future ensure that they adhere to section BA7 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders 2021. 2, the accounting officers should ensure recovery of overpaid amounts from the affected persons. 3, accounting officers should ensure processing of payments of top-up salary amounts in respect of the persons who were underpaid. 3, the accounting officers should liaise with the Minister of Public Service to reconcile the different salary amounts paid to their respective entity employees. And finally, for use of wrong bands, the accounting officers should ensure correct payments are made in compliance with section BA6 and 7 and Section BC 1 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have management of deductions. That is under 3.6. We have provided details, and the committee has also provided observations that members can look through. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have provided recommendations under that, and please permit me to just mention these 2 recommendations. 1, government through the Ministry of Public Service should ensure that the human capital management system accurately deducts a local service tax from all employees in accordance with the Income Tax Act. 2, in the meantime, the accounting officers should make sure recoveries are done from staff from whom less local service tax deducted. 3.7 is under non-deductions. We have also provided details and their observations that the committee has provided. We have recommendations where we are recommending that the Ministry of Public Service should harmonize the deductions with the respective financial entities to avoid financial loss to staff. This is informed by the fact that government of the Republic of Uganda, represented by the Ministry of Public Service, entered into a service agreement with UCLA and UBA on 3rd January 2020 to manage the loan deductions for all civil servants. And next recommendation is that the Ministry of Public Service should review the agreement signed with the lenders with a view of streamlining the irregularities in the management of management of salary loans. And recommendation 3, the accounting officers should ensure that strict adherence to section 2.12 and 2.14 of the service agreement between the government of Uganda and these lenders. And finally, we are recommending that government should expeditiously roll out the HCM, the human capital management system, to resolve most of these irregularities that local governments are experiencing. Number 3.8, right, Honorable Speaker, is on delayed access to payroll, where the committee found out that there are still local government entities that take between 5 to 12 months before staff are enrolled onto the payroll. We also found out, right, Honorable Speaker, that there are local governments that take actually between 50 to 110 months before pensioners begin to access their benefits. And this is absurd. And we have provided observations. We have also recommended, right, Honorable Speaker, that we have provided recommendation, and to be specific, recommendation number 1, the accounting officers should in future ensure to adhere to section BA 11 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders, which require accounting officer to ensure that public officers access payroll within 4 weeks from the date of assumption of duty. 2, accounting officers should ensure payment of salary arrears to newly appointed staff that accrued from delayed access to payroll. And we also recommended that NERA should expeditiously handle the processes of issuing national IDs, since it is hindering the processes of accessing the payroll. And number 4, the accounting officers should adhere to paragraph 5.1 of the establishment notice number 1 of 2020, which bestows on the responsible officers the responsibility of initiating and completing the processing of retirement benefits within 6 months to the mandatory retirement date. Number 5, the accounting officers should ensure expeditious processing of pension arrears that accrue on account of delayed access to the pension payroll. Number 6, Ministry of Public Service should initiate a system that automatically transition employees from the salary payroll to pension payroll once they clock the retirement age. Right, Honorable Speaker, we would like to emphasize many retirees are suffering because they have to start afresh getting documents and submitting to access their details when they have actually been in the system. So we think the ministry needs to develop that system that automatically they move to benefit from their retirement efforts. And finally, pensioners need to be prepared for access to retirement benefits prior to obtaining the mandatory retirement age to avoid time lags. We are recommending this, right, Honorable Speaker, because we have experience in many districts where some pensioners give up because they do not know what to do. Number 3.81, delayed deletion of staff from payroll. We have observed, Right Honorable Speaker, many officers who have either abandoned, absconded, transferred services, or died continue to draw salaries. And this is contrary to Section BA12 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders. Even people who are normal, people who have died, you find money still being paid to their accounts. It's illegal and contravenes Section BA12, as I stated. And we have provided observations, Right Honorable Speaker, and we are also providing recommendations. One, going forward, the accounting officers should ensure the management of an accurate staff salary payroll in line with Section BA12 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders 2021. Two, the accounting officers should recover the said money from the beneficiaries within 3 months from the time of adoption of the report. We have provided the details in the bigger report for each entities that have paid money to people who should have not received, and we are recommending that recoveries be made. All those individuals would be forced to pay from their pockets. Under number 3.9, Right Honorable Speaker, talks about micro-scale irrigation program that is in about 47 local government entities. We have provided the details, the number of challenges that we have indicated, and I pray members read through, and we have recommended that this program should be tailored towards promoting inclusivity with the intent of enhancing the capacity of farmers. We found out that this program is not fair to many farmers. Some of them are not able to raise the money they expected, and we think there should be inclusivity. The next, Right Honorable Speaker, is number 3.10, Uganda intergovernmental fiscal transfers. We have also provided details, and I pray members look through. And under that, Roman number 8, there is transfer of full project funds. We have also indicated details, and I pray members read through in the interest of saving time. The committee has made the following observations. One, it was wrong for the accounting officers to transfer all funds for project to defense. And maybe, Right Honorable Speaker, just to make some clarity on this, transfer full project funds, and this is common with UGIFT, where government decided that the UPDF engineering brigade should help in the construction of these projects. And I want to be specific, giving examples where local government entities pay 100% of the project funds. On the other hand, the UPDF engineering brigade, even after receiving the money in full, still fail to finish the completion of the project. And this is affecting many local government entities. And therefore, we are saying that it is wrong for accounting officers to pay 100% of the project funds, because the procurement laws requires that you pay an advance of 30%. Number two, the work in many of these local governments were still incomplete despite payment up to the tune of 100%. And we have the following recommendation. Recommendation 1, PSST should hold the accounting officers who made 100% payment personally liable and reprimand them for contravening Article 7.8 of the contract agreement and procurement laws. 2, the UPDF construction brigade should desist from breaching contractual terms and ensure full completion of projects within the contractual time frame. Under Roman number B, failure to absorb project funds, we have also provided details, Right Honorable Speaker, and in the interest of time, I'll request members to look through. We have provided observations, and the committee observed that there is a big challenge related to the hybrid procurement modality under UGIFT across the country, where one contractor is given several projects and they fail to complete. And Right Honorable Speaker, we have recommended that 1, the two-line ministries, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health, should ensure timely award of contracts to contractors with the right capacity. 2, there should be limits on the number of projects per contractor so that contractors are able to finish project timely. 3, the accounting officers should ensure close supervision and monitoring of the UGIP projects by the district executive and the rest of the stakeholders, and provide timely reporting. Right Honorable Speaker, Just to conclude, recoveries. Based on the interactions the committee had with the 39 different local government entities, the committee has since made a total recovery of 118,207,72 out of the 162,556,179 shilling, with an outstanding of 46,745,281. These are recoveries that we directed, and we have the monies have been returned back, and we have provided details in the Annex 2. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, with all this and with the full belief that you and the honorable members will look through the bigger document, I now would like to beg that this report be adopted by this House. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. And when you hear from what the chair was presenting, most of these local governments face challenges of budget absorption. Usually that is occasioned by late release. And that's what I was telling you, that when they bring a supplementary in a rush way, you give them money, they don't absorb the money, you don't know where the money is going. And that should be an issue with the Minister of Finance. If you want these ministries to, these local governments to spend this money, bring your supplementaries early. But even before bringing supplementaries, why don't you include this in the budget? In the main budget. Huh? So late absorption, late release leads to poor absorption. Then the non-accountability of funds remains a challenge to most of the local governments. And this is against Article 164 of the Constitution that we must respect too. And if you don't account for public funds, you will be held accountable. Then protection of local government assets requires strengthening to avoid loss of these assets. I don't know whether did you find that they have asset registers? Are they well maintained? Are they well updated?
Right, Honorable Speaker, we have provided in the big report, many local government entities do not have asset registers. And I'll give you the example of Mbarara that did not have any clue in as far as some of their assets are concerned.
How do you know that you have a vehicle, you have land, you have this? You need to have an asset register that is updated regularly. When you dispose of an asset, it must be reflected in the asset register. So some of these things are a problem. And then poor local revenue performance, the collection. You'll find the collections are too poor in most of these local governments. And yet at the same time, that is the money which is supposed to be used for most of this. But at the same time, the NTR, these people collect their money. Finance takes it. When finance takes it, they ask for money, they can't give them. Finance will really have a problem in this. Because it takes them long, you find the garbage in Soroti is too much, but you can't even provide them just one truck to collect the garbage. And yet they have collected funds given to you and you cannot send back the money. And then this needs, local governments need to improve on capacity building of their members, people working with them. The PDM has been given there. It's like a white elephant. The money is not being utilized. It's just given. I think our people are making accountability. The payroll management is still a problem. And then the accounting officers that we have. If we have accounting officers that are not performing, why don't we sack them? Even as MPs, when we don't perform, they remove us, not so. But we have accounting officers who are not performing. They transfer them from Amuria to Bukedea to Masakas to Chikoni. You're just recycling. You're recycling. and taking the advice from one district to the other. How shall we improve? So there is that problem. We want these accounting officers to be removed. I remember there's an accounting officer here. He was a very good accounting officer. Now, because he was good, he's now a member of parliament. So we cannot afford having accounting officers who are not performing. You recycle them. At the end of the day, the vice goes through the whole country. Minister of Finance, we need an action on that. On accounting officers. We want a surprise. It will be a big surprise from Minister of Finance that we have fired these accounting officers. Honorable members, can we have that clerk, all that report uploaded for members to be able to read? We can now open the debate. Mbarara with the poor performing district. Mbarara. Now let's first hear from the worst district.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, as a district, we have had issues with the accounting officer, who is the cow. When you look at the report, the Myoga report, when you sent us for the Myoga report, we found so many ghost groups, including groups of fishermen when there is no lake in Imbara for fishing. And we said this accounting officer, something should be done on the accounting officer. Madam Speaker, PDM in Imbarara now.
But how can you fail to have fishermen in Imbarara when we have in parliament?
Madam, there is no lake in Imbarara, so there is no fishing activity in Imbarara district. Now, on PDM, even last weekend we had a meeting. People are still complaining the money has reached at the parish, there is no progress. That there are ghost groups and ghost members in the groups. So they are going back to do auditing and make sure they get the right people. These contractors with so many contracts, the seed schools in Imbarara, the contractor is almost contracting schools for the entire region. And the work is hopeless. Madam Speaker, the 100% payment, which the chairman was talking about, this cow paid all the contractors 100%, even when the work is not done. Then finally on this land grabbing and
I thought the contractor is paid according to the certificate of completion.
Madam,
Who is that cow?
Now, finally, Mama, that you're asking about the cow, because of our complaints, this cow now has been transferred to Rubirizi district.
Honorable Minister, can we have that cow out of being an accounting officer?
This gentleman should be retired in public interest, not transferring a liability to another district.
You can first leave him there and have him investigated than just him continuing to be an accounting officer.
So, Madam Speaker, I need your intervention because, as you have heard, this district is a young district. We have just been cut off from the city. We are struggling, and with this kind of administration and financial management, the district is going to suffer more. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, as we do the forensic audit, which the committee has requested for, you can give somebody else to be an accounting officer. You cannot sack him before we have evidence, but let's give somebody to be an accounting officer than him. Rita, finance, they want to hear from you. Rita, first give finance to give us a commitment.
Madam Speaker, in the Public Finance Management Act, which I proudly associate myself with, we were explicit on accounting officers with audit queries arising from the Auditor General's reports, and where the accounting officer has queries, he or she should not be appointed. Here we are faced with a scenario where the accounting office of Mbarara district has been found with audit queries, which he cannot justifiably deal with. And I want to commit to this House that we shall take action and we shall inform the House about our action through the Treasury Memorandum.
Thank you. Honorable Mapendus, with your members, can you give us the list of accounting officers with all those queries that are performing badly? And we have, before we give them more money in their districts, those accounting officers that should first be removed from being accounting officers. And before you supply, you are supposed to lay a list of accounting officers on table. So before supply, we need a list of those accounting officers with the issues. Yes, the procedure matter.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I really thank the chair of the committee and the issues he has raised in the report. They are very, very, very pertinent for the development of our country. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Local Government, who is responsible for these districts, is not in the House. And Madam Speaker, you have just directed the clerk that the report to be uploaded on our iPads so that members can read them and then be able to debate this report. Wouldn't it be procedurally right, Madam Speaker, that you give members time to internalize the report and then direct that we discuss, debate this report when the Minister of Local Government is in the House? Take an example, Madam Speaker. The cow they are referring to has just been transferred, I think like last week, and by the Minister of Local Government. So, Madam Speaker, wouldn't it be procedurally right that the Minister of Local Government should be in the House as we debate this?
Let me tell you people, honorable members, we are not going to work according to these ministers. If you decide to work according to these ministers, then you will not finish work in this parliament. Huh? Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for your guidance on this.
By the way, just a minute before you go ahead, when they laid a report of accounting officers, the report was forwarded to Park Central, Park Local Government, Park Kosase, and they are supposed to report.
I want to thank the chair, Honorable Mapinduzi, for the presentation. However, I have a small concern. When I heard of Mbarara, I was surprised, but the next one was my district, Chegegwa. And from your guidance, you're saying the chief administrative officers should be held accountable, and indeed the list came out. But as it turns out, the chief administrative officer we have in Chegegwa is new, so he cannot be held accountable for whatever happened before he came.
Article 164 of the Constitution refers to whoever the accounting officer at the time.
Yes, Right Honorable. That's where I was heading. That as the Minister of Finance takes up your directive to act on these accounting officers, as Attorney General, I would want us to avoid as much as possible being sued by accounting officers who will feel unjustly treated. I would want us to give them fair hearing and deal with them in accordance with the law, so that they do not come back to sue government for one reason or another. Otherwise, I'm firmly behind your directive for Minister of Finance to act on this. Thank you very much.
Honorable Attorney General, Article 164 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda is on accountability. The permanent secretary or accounting officer in charge of the ministry or department shall be accountable to Parliament for funds in that ministry or department. A person holding a political public office who directs or concurs in the use of public funds contrary to existing instructions shall be accountable, that person, at that time. Now, if you've been brought yesterday, now for you will not be accountable for the works of a former Attorney General before you came to office. It's personal to Holder. It is personal to Holder, and maybe if there is a mistake that has been made to list one who is not the one who was there at that time, then that can be handled by finance. Yes, Rita.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And I really would like to thank the chair and the committee for the elaborate report. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the things that I think across Mbarara and Tunga Mokabale that has not left this floor is in regard with the USMAID project. It's really a pain in our neck for the last 3 years. The contractor, who is Multiplex, has not left neither the ears of the development partners, neither the ears of Parliament at all fronts. And we keep to wonder what exactly is happening that all those projects along that line are given to a contractor that has no capacity in terms of finance, equipment, and even human resource. So for the forensic that is being proposed, I think it would do good to alleviate that pain from us so that money is given to other entities. Right, Honorable Speaker, the other issue I may observe in my view could be to do with priorities. Right now, I already briefed you what is going on in the city with the broken bridges of Kanyeite, of Katete, of Nyakizi that have even lost 3 lives. Students were buried yesterday, a 23-year-old from Mbarara University, a 19-year-old from one of the high schools, but then money is being returned to the consolidated fund. I do chair the road fund for Mbarara City. It's like a practice that you are called in 3 weeks, please come and sit, to be able to effect a program that has been planned for 3 months. So the Minister of Finance cannot go unmentioned here. I think whereas we may want to blame the technical officers for that work, government should be able to take that blame and be able to implement. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue to do with structures and cities. I think we need to expedite. The structure came out, but it is still wanting. Some of the areas, you cannot just have a mayor, city engineer to do with the roads without assistance of the different divisions. So as we look at Mbarara City having returned all that amounts of money, we really need help with USMAID so that our roads can get back, can be repaired to the desired levels. But I do thank the committee and wish that this report should indeed receive action from the different entities. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Soroti City. Now that we're in the cities, let me first get Soroti City.
Right Honorable Speaker, like my sister has said it, we have a big problem of structures in the cities that have even never been affected up to now. Number 2, Right Honorable Speaker, the cities have a very big problem.
the cities are still operating, Right Honorable Speaker, with the budget of the former municipalities up to now. We carved out a number of parishes into the cities, but it's very unfortunate that up to now, the cities are still running using the budgets of the former municipalities. Number two, when you pass by Soroti City, up to now, we are still borrowing the graders from the district to grade our roads in the city. Up to now. Madam Speaker, you rightly said it here, that Right Honorable Speaker, you rightly said it here, that when you pass by the streets of Soroti, especially the main market, you find the skips like the anthills. We do not have the skips up to now. And then you wonder, where is the problem? Soroti City collects money, like other cities. Money is sent to the center. Our people request for the money, but the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Local Government, they take time to give back this money to the cities for operations. You can imagine it can take over 1 month. Say, for instance, if money is requisitioned in August 30th, money will come in September 30th. Now that full month, what do we use for running the city? I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, PPP.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, like my colleagues have already spoken, it looks like this government is not serious to help the people that we represent. I am saying this because the issue of returning money to the consolidated fund did not start yesterday. Year in, year out, the districts are returning money. And the people who voted for us think that the district do not want to use those money. Up to today, government has not come out with a solution of what should be done to make sure that money which is sent to the districts to work, to give services to the people is handled and utilized at the district level. This gives me a lot of worries. The second issue is the issue on PDM. By today, we should have got 100 million already onto the Paris Circles accounts. But you find that the government cannot come out clearly to explain to us why the money has not reached 100 million. Two, why are they not allowing these people to use the money?
Santa, why we have not received the money and yet we budgeted for it and it is presumed to be released 100%.
Exactly. That's what I am saying, because the people on the ground, the community we are leading, will not believe in us. People are going to the bank, they are checking every day, they are bouncing, they are asking us. For us MPs, we have now failed to know how to explain it because there are guidelines coming from finance, guidelines coming from secretariat. If a local person asks you, you can fail to guide. So that issue is very, very important. On the road infrastructure in the districts, and I'm sure that much of the money which is returned is always for the road infrastructures. You find that the bureaucracy of how to tender into contracts is very, very long. It takes about 3 months for somebody to be given that contract to grade the roads. You find that like in my district in Pade, we have 1 grader. The excavator, which is supposed to get Maram, is in the pool in Gulu for the whole of northern region. You cannot get that excavator to get for you the Maram. So that is the delay that makes money not utilized and it is returned. I want to beg that government comes out clearly with a reason or a solution as to how we can stop this issue of keeping money and returning. And no money should be given by March or by April to be utilized in the district, because that money will not be utilized. And I agree with you that supplementary budget brought by March or February should not be passed because the money is not always used. Thank you.
The poor absorption is because of rate release and finance taking note. Avoro? Avoro, Ababiko, and Daudi.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you and I want to thank the chairperson for this good report. Right Honorable Speaker, two things. One, I want to talk about the failure or delay to recruit at the district level. Right Honorable Speaker, as a country, when you look at the population pyramid, most of our young people are the ones down the pyramid. That means we are not getting the benefits of the young, productive labor that we should have in this country utilized. And now when we add to delaying recruitment or not recruiting at all, Right Honorable Speaker, we are not doing this country any good. Right Honorable Speaker, we are grappling with the issue of revenue collection. I believe that once this planned recruitment is effected and our people join the employment families or companies, they would add to the revenue that this country desires to collect in terms of VAT, in terms of pay as you earn. I therefore wish to implore the Minister of Finance, if it is a matter of delay on releases, then we are failing the economy. But if it is a matter of the District Service Commission, then I think the cows are the ones failing this country. The other issue I want to talk about, Right Honorable Speaker, payment to dead people or dead staff. Right Honorable Speaker.
To the ghost.
To the ghosts, Right Honorable Speaker. Now, what the report did not bring out clear is whether these monies or these funds are on accounts of those dead people. If they are not.
Can the money be paid to an account and it remains there?
No, but if they are dead, Right Honorable Speaker, the cow definitely knows that in this year, in this quarter, I lost the staff or this number of staff. So we want to know whom are they paying and is the money there? If the money is being withdrawn, by who?
Payment to ghost workers is a responsibility of the accounting officer.
Yes.
You're supposed to know which people are available and which people are there, which accounts are active.
Exactly.
First of all, do you have those people? Are they beneficiaries?
Yeah, because we see on
every time we hear cleaning of the payroll. What do they clean?
Lastly, Honorable Speaker, on the late releases, Right Honorable Speaker, we are operating a cash economy. True, the funds may not be enough. By the fact that you release them, that means the funds are available. But the question is, we have what we call framework procurement. I'm wondering why the accounting officers cannot be authorized or they cannot use that option to procure to ensure that service delivery is given to our people in time so that they can be able within a quarter. I imagine now this week, if funds were released, why wouldn't they by 30th June not to have utilized the funds? Because the framework procurement allows them to not to go through the full length of procurement processes. Right Honorable Speaker, I need that clarification from
Thank
the
you so
Honorable
much. The good thing you're chairperson of Finance Committee where finance reports to. So you're supposed to give, you are actually the one supposed to give us that feedback. Jessica Daudi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I appreciate the work done by the committee. Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is about the unspent monies which ends up being returned. That means that prioritized activities will never be done or we are not done. Right Honorable Speaker, this affects all of us. Parliament and local government leaders, especially the politicians. at the end, we remain more accountable. And at times we even get voted out. And yet we do our part as parliament. Right on, our speaker and colleagues, I propose, instead of only holding the accounting officers responsible for this mismanagement, we need to also hold other line ministries accountable. For example, in relation to USMID, Ministry of Lands delayed in planning and producing plans for the projects. Ministry of Finance delays in releasing funds. So I propose we add the line ministries accountable, and the officers in those ministries should be held liable. To Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, on poor management of assets, I'm more concerned about land. Right Honorable Speaker, issues of land conflict are daily increasing in our districts. I propose that our local governments must prioritize having registration and land titles for the lands that they own, because sub-counties are fighting among themselves and people are dying. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of domestic arrears, I believe strongly it is the last person who suffers most. When the accounting officers do not have these documents right, it is the service provider or a person who is supposed to be paid who suffers more than the accounting officers. Right Honorable Speaker, I strongly believe that is one of the reasons why some people get off payroll. And at the end, they suffer. For example, in Ajuman district, my secondary teachers, for the last 2 months, have not been paid. Who failed to compile their list? These are the people who have been on payroll. So Right Honorable Speaker, I pray that the issues of payroll, which causes domestic arrears, must be sorted. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That now takes us to David. Before you come in, Honorable Mujuki had something on nurses.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the medical workers' strike commenced last night. And as we talk now, they are not in the senior medical workers. As we talk now, they are not in health centers and facilities. Emergency cases are not being attended to. Patients are at the risk of death. They actually may be dying. Madam Speaker, as money is being returned, as excess money is being sent, the medical workers cannot be paid. It is an emergency for us as Parliament to find a solution, first of all, to the strike of the medical workers. I see the chairperson of Health is here, Health Committee. But for this very discussion we are on, why do we have to have districts collect money in the districts? Send it to the center first. Then it is sent back late and sent back again. In whose interest is this happening? Why don't we actually leave the money collected in districts to stay in the districts and do some work? But they have to first collect it, send it to the center. Yes, I mean, is it helping? Yes, it's a little. I have no problem with it. I'm only asking why we have given it to you. You keep it and send it back on the 11th hour. What is your interest? So, Madam Speaker, even with these excesses and the very good laws we have, Ugandans are suffering, the medical workers are on strike. So I don't know what we can do as Parliament, even when the ministers are not here. But whether they are here or not, the patients are dying.
Honorable Francis, returning the money at the end of the financial year is a requirement of the law. But much as is a requirement of the law, we also have an issue of priorities. Health workers are a priority, a necessity. What can we do to the health workers who are striking finance?
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Health and the Minister of Health in this case will give a comprehensive statement to this House, but also I know that on Monday, this is a standing item we want to discuss in Cabinet. So I want to pray that the Minister of Health comes to the House and gives you.
But Honorable Minister, you know very well there was 80 billion that was returned by Mlago. That is just Mlago alone. Mlago, Cancer Institute, and Women Hospital, and one of them, they returned. Dr. Ime, you have information to that? The Cancer Institute, Mlago, and which returned 80 million. billion.
Madam Speaker, before I answer that, on the issue of the strike, there's a petition that was brought to your office, and the committee was able to process the strike by the medical interns and the senior house officers. And Madam Speaker, we're able to interact with the Ministry of Finance. There is 80 billion shillings that would be needed for the next financial year, and we're bluntly told by the minister that that money will not be available in the next financial year. We have a backlog of 1,900 interns who have been seated at home, Madam Speaker, for the last 8 months, waiting to join service. And some of them are now managers of salons and so forth. As parents of these interns, it is quite disheartening that they have invested in 5 years and government cannot absorb them. So, Madam Speaker, I know we have, the report is ready, it has been signed, but I can give you snippets of the report. I hope I'm not preempting the discussion.
That is not proper. Let's first, don't kill your report. But Honorable Musasizi, you used to be an MP like all of us here. Like all of us here. And you're a parent. Just imagine paying school fees for 5 years for a doctor. And this doctor cannot practice anywhere because he has not done internship. Just imagine. Which other priority area would we have other than health, education, and that kind of thing? Tell us.
Madam Speaker, on a light note, I have been a member of this House since 2011. I represent Rwanda County East in Rwanda District, former Kavale, Chigezi Sub-Region. Madam Speaker.
And you're just starting your term now. You still have 20 years.
I still have more 20 years to go. Because I've just made 42 years. Madam Speaker, on top of that, yes, I am a parent, and my sister who follows me is a doctor. So this subject is so dear to me. I can see Honorable Kamara is passionately listening to me. Madam Speaker, the issue that is happening, which I presented in the committee, is an issue which is clearly understandable by even us, the lay people, in as far as health management is concerned. However, the chronology is that in this financial year, on medical interns, including those who have finished waiting to be taken on. They called them senior house something. Senior house officers. Plus those who are studying still in school. The bill has been 80 billion. Now in the next financial year, we are saying because of the constraints we have, Ministry of Health needs to discuss with us at policy level and see what we can do.
It needs a clarification.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Recently, this government increased the salaries for scientists by about 300%. And now we are seeing a situation where we are not absorbing the interns because we do not have money. I just want to know how this can be possible. That we cannot absorb interns because the government doesn't have money. Yet the government was in a position to increase salaries by over 300%.
Self-imposed law.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the Minister for giving way. Madam Speaker, most of the hospitals, it's the interns who carry out most of the work. And other doctors give just guidance. And as a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, you are well informed and you directed the Minister of Education here to come and explain why they have closed teacher training institutions. Now, if they stop taking interns as they are doing for doctors, it means they are saying we have many doctors now, we can't afford them. So can you tell this house that you are also soon going to close the medical schools because you have many in excess and you don't have the money? Lastly, the further clarification, Madam Speaker, is that this house you are chairing, we agreed that even if, because the challenges on local governments, taking back their money is not on them, it is from finance. They send the money late and the procedures become difficult for them. So we asked them that in the case this money is taken back, or let it be ring-fenced in the interest of those particular districts and local authorities, other than giving them to other, using it for other ventures. Could you tell us those two questions? The first one, and secondly, do you ring-fence this money as you take it back in the interest of those districts or local governments?
There is another clarification.
Further clarification. Thank you. The clarification I seek from the minister is, as a government, we have come up with a policy to promote sciences. I want to give one specific school where in a class of 500 S6, there are only 80 doing arts. The rest are doing science. Now, we are failing to absorb just this year 1,900. By the time these children graduate and become scientists, we shall have 20,000. Will we really be capable of absorbing all these scientists? Are we serious with the policies that we come with? Are we ready? Do we plan for this country? That is the clarification I seek from you, sir.
Thank you.
Right, Honorable.
And you get all the clarifications. I wish you could be.
Thank you, Right Honorable
I wish you
Speaker.
could be noting.
Right Honorable Speaker, the clarification I would like to seek from the Minister of Finance is monies that are brought back to Ministry of Finance. We have never at any time gotten to know how much has been collected from several districts, local governments, and administrative units that is brought back. How come that you have unfunded priorities, yet money is coming back? Can we know, can you present to this house how much money you collect every financial year that comes back? Because it is not, where does it go? What does it do?
How much money you collect from returns, the unused funds. Another clarification from Zombo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Minister, we had been talking about employing a medical doctor in Health Center 3 at a sub-county level. With all the constraints you are talking about, will this work?
Another clarification from.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have of late, Madam Speaker, there is information that I want to give the House about doctors. I was in hospital, I think, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I picked information from senior doctors that there is a game going on in the Ministry of Health. We have doctors who are supposed to be elevated to consultation level, to become consultants, doctors who have been studying, who are now supposed to be leaving the chairs for the young doctors who have nowhere to go. And they have been deliberately not elevated. And they will keep, yet there is space, there is room, there is need of those doctors. But the Ministry of Health, whatever game that is being played, no one can tell. These doctors are there. They have to be elevated so that these young doctors can now get space and come in and work. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I think there is need for Parliament. There is need for Parliament to look at it. What is exactly happening? And where is the problem? Okay. Madam Speaker, the other thing maybe I wanted to mention about
But on what you're saying, when you look at Uganda, the patient ratio, doctor-patient ratio is 1 to 25,000. But then in the World Health Organization, it is 1 to 1,000. So we need to scale up to make sure that we meet what the World Health Organization needs.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, something I wanted to talk about these accounting officers that we are all talking about, and we sometimes condemn and we sometimes even punish them where they are not, where maybe they have done a mistake. Madam Speaker, there is something that I've been seeing going on in different districts. First of all, money comes late in districts, and these accounting officers are advised from the ministry.
By the way, we as Parliament do not punish anybody. They don't report to us.
Madam Speaker, some of these accounting officers are advised to fix the money in different projects.
Who advises them? Let's talk with evidence.
Madam Speaker, I have seen this, and I am talking this with.
Let's talk with evidence. Where is the evidence that an accounting officer was advised to fix the money, and by who?
Madam Speaker, I can gather information and bring it because
now,
I know
now that you don't have
give me permission, Madam Speaker, and I'll bring it.
Don't talk like a Muchiga. Now that you don't have the information, you withdraw that one. Withdraw that statement until you have evidence. You come and lay here and we shall have that person punished.
Madam Speaker, I will withdraw it, but with permission.
Not you will withdraw.
Madam Speaker.
You're a commissioner. Withdraw until you bring evidence, lay on table, so that we hold those people culpable.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I want to withdraw the statement, but I want to request for your permission that once I have this, I come and give you I bring it here in Parliament, because why I'm saying this,
there's an order here.
Procurement office.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm not speaking as former commissioner, but I think it is important that all of us should keep reading our rules. Once the Speaker guides and directs that a statement be made, must be made according to the directives of the Speaker. Now, when the Speaker says, withdraw the statement, you withdraw. But now you are saying I withdraw back. So that one is not allowed. I'm just guiding. It's not my work, it's the work of the government chief whip or the opposition chief whip. But I'm just advising that as colleagues, we must respect the chair, the speaker. When the chair gives instruction, we must obey. I beg to. So is it
Thank
therefore
you.
in order, Speaker?
Of course,
Is it in order?
Of course, Honorable Cross is not in order. I have said if you're debating, bring evidence to what you're saying. And we said, withdraw until you have it. Once you have it, nobody can deny you to bring evidence in this house. And let's have respect for each other. Let's not just talk like weaver birds. Talk. Let's have respect for each other. Can I have that withdrawn?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I withdraw the statement.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
It's a procedure matter. No, a minister is going to respond because David is also on the same thing.
Madam Speaker, Rule 72 talks about the contents of a speech, that a speech of a member must make a reference to the subject under discussion. And the matter which was under discussion was consideration of report of the committee, the PAC on local government. And I've seen a number of issues emerge, such as this one you've just advised must be withdrawn. Would you kindly guide this House on how we should proceed? Thank you.
Honorable August Lee, the matter of underabsorption and return of funds and failure to pay the workers is what is under debate now. And we are saying the doctors have not been paid because the monies have been returned, and failure to pay these doctors is because of the monies that we are returned. I give you an example of Mulago Cancer Institute. 80 billion was returned, no accountability of that money. It has not been taken back. These people have not been paid. So many, the interns work under local governments. In my hospital, I only have, in Bukede, I only have interns, but they cannot work. That is the local government report that we are looking at now under the perspective of health. That's what we are within the same topic, local government. That's why we are telling her to withdraw. That's why we are telling her to withdraw. Daudi?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allowed me to join my colleagues to appreciate the chair and the committee for the report. Madam Speaker, I am very concerned, especially on the issue of the contractor, on the projects of the UGIPs. The chair actually gave elaborate reports and also mentioned the issue of the contractor and the challenges that they have experienced. I have a case in point, Madam Speaker, in my constituency. Now, there is a contractor that was given a contract for the construction of the Seed Secondary School. And the contractor is called Mesco Uganda Limited. Madam Speaker, the site was handed over in January this year. To now, to date, the contractor hired the local community to dig the foundation, but the community were not paid the money. They borrowed the local community to dig the foundation, but without payment. There is a lot of chaos now, Madam Speaker, and the reason being the contractor has almost over 10 contracts given to one contractor. There are 3 contracts in Agago district. There are contracts in Otuke, there are other contracts in other districts. One contractor. Madam Speaker, I am wondering why the central government give contracts to one contractor who is not effective and delay the process of the implementation of the contract. This is a problem. And I am wondering, Parliament need to come with a decision. If we talk about the issue of decentralization, why don't we give opportunity to local government to manage such contract? And this will make the work become effective. And the work is not going to be jeopardized. So it is my humble appeal for Parliament to come with a decision which is very concrete on the issue of the contractor. I thank you.
Honorable Minister, the issue of decentralization of those contracts, it's really a very big problem. Because you find one contractor has over 10 schools and they cannot afford to manage that. First, talk about the interns, talk about the contractors, talk about under absorption.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank colleagues for this debate. I was told
Julius, come back. Let's finish the report.
Madam Speaker, this
You
debate,
stop him.
this
Susan,
debate-
close that door. Today I've promoted you. Yes, please.
Madam Speaker, let me first of all take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Susan Amero upon her.
No, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Madam Speaker, to sum up the Madam
Continue.
Speaker, Madam Speaker, this whole issue about interns and the senior house officers. Madam Speaker, when we are budgeting and planning, we are informed by needs. The need I'm picking from here and also from the affected people themselves is that as a government, we need to go back and reconsider so that this category of people remain a priority. I want to undertake that we shall go back, discuss with the Ministry of Health and the Cabinet, and then come back with a position which addresses the needs we are picking from this challenge. Madam Speaker, the question of when is coming up. We are in the process of budgeting. From your program on Tuesday, we are supposed to be here the whole day debating the budget. And we shall be able to give you feedback about what we shall have decided on the way forward. Madam, on money returned in financial year 2021-22, which closed on 30th of June 2022, we had returned funds amounting to 685 billion, which was returned to the consolidated fund. The question is, what happens to this money? I wish to inform the House that whereas there were returns to the consolidated fund amounting to this figure, at the same time, the consolidated fund closed with a deficit of over 3 trillion shillings. So ideally, this money is not reserved somewhere. It is utilized for other purposes. Madam Speaker, I wish I wish colleagues would listen to me because I'm telling you facts.
Honorable, that's why one of the members was saying,
Yes.
during fence this money to go back to what it was supposed to have done.
Speaker, we don't ring fence the money, save for specific projects funded by external resources. Like USMAID, like UGIFT, there the money is saved. And I normally come back here to ask for supplementary appropriation for this clarification.
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker, and the Minister for giving way. Madam Speaker, in the past, which these days they are not doing it so critical. Once the money it is in the local government, as that money has been committed, they don't take it back to consolidate fund. But these days, every money that goes to the local government, whether the money it is within the projects which is being implemented, you hear the report from the district that the money has been swept back to the central government. And it gives the burden to leaders like us to explain, and even they don't know the barrier. Could it maybe you clarify on that matter regarding the money that has been committed and the project is ongoing, and yet the money again, they say they bring it back to the center?
Clarification. Honorable Court John Amos.
Maybe we first need to harmonize our figures. What was given to all local governments? Okay, what was returned from local governments in total is 703 billion. 703 billion, according to the report. However, for you, you're saying that it is 685. Now, this is the 703 is only for local governments. Remember, there are other MDS. There are other institutions like Parliament. There are other statutory institutions that return the money to the consolidated account. So you need to give us the whole figure as opposed to what you're giving us. The figure you gave us is not a correct one.
Madam Speaker, yes, we can reconcile the figure and report back. But that figure, you were also looking at, perhaps since it is from local government, you are looking at UGIFT and USMAID. That's why we needed to reconcile, because for me, when I'm reporting the consolidated fund, sometimes we separate we categorize. But that not being the case,
but you still come back and ask for that money for USMAID.
I'll come back with a reconciled figure, which has central government votes and also the local government votes. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Court John Amos wants to know whether committed funds are also returned to the consolidated fund. The answer is no. Where funds have been committed, they remain with the spending vote. There is another, yes, Honorable.
Clarification from your professor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for giving way. I need clarification. You said that actually, while the funds were returned, were swept back to the consolidated fund, the consolidated fund had a deficit. And this is where I need your explanation. How does the deficit come about? Because you see, the only way the deficit would come about would be where you have planned for 43 trillion and you have only received 35 trillion, okay, in form of taxes, NTR, borrowings. There you would talk of the 8 trillion deficit. However, in this case, at the consolidated fund level, there is no deficit. The deficit is in terms of releases when money is being released to MDAs. And where MDAs spend more than what they have received, that's when they have arrears. And at budgeting, these arrears are budgeted for. So now, which deficit are you talking about at the consolidated fund level? And right, Honourable Speaker, it has been a very big question about the fund that are swept back. Because whenever we are appropriating, we've never had anything like balance brought down at the consolidated fund, so that we add taxes, so that we add NTR, so that we add borrowings, so that we have an entire basket to appropriate. We only have taxes, NTR, borrowings, that's what we appropriate. So what normally happens to this balance swept back to the consolidated fund?
So, and do you always report back what is on the consolidated account at the end of the financial year as a balance carried forward to the next financial year?
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform Honorable Choma. Why don't you allow me speak? Then you, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform Honorable Choma, my professor and my friend,
and the House,
that there is a difference between a budget and a consolidated fund account. The consolidated fund account is like my account, is the bank account of government. For budgeting purposes, we report to you the resource envelope, our sources of revenue, and how we intend to spend it.
And then you should also be able to tell us, this is the balance carried forward.
Madam Speaker, it is also important to note that our budget starts from zero every financial year.
That's where the problem is. Madam Speaker.
Yeah,
But I find that you have something to say. You come and say. Honorable members, let's take our debate to Auditor General's report. Let's take our debate. And you the one who talked about the rule. Stick to what is being reported. Let's take our debate to Auditor General's report. We shall discuss about the carried forward and balance brought down in the next debate.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also contribute on the debate about the report that has been presented by the chair and his committee members. In his submission, in the report, he did mention something to do with engineering brigade, undertaking some projects in local governments. And he raised the two areas of concern. One is that they are contravening the law on PPDA by giving 100% payment even before the commencement of the project, which law normally requires that when a company wins a contract, they are given 30% as advance payment, and then the rest they are paid according to the certificate of completion. But for UPDF for engineering brigade, they get 100%. That is the number one area he raised. But to the best of my knowledge, and fortunately enough, I think the Attorney General is about the law on this. Me, I think that law only applies on private companies, which private companies can sue or can be sued, can go to the banks and borrow and then undertake projects. But this time, well, we will get that.
First leave the general to talk.
So, but this time, engineering brigade, UPDF engineering brigade is not a private company. It is government. It's a government body. So I don't know.
Honorable Taylor, there is procedure. You sit just on the front bench here.
Thank you,
Sit
Right
there.
Honorable Speaker. I seek clarification from General Kavma on which law exactly regulates UPDF engineering brigade to undertake contracts with the government. I need to be guided on the law that you are making specific reference to, under which the UPDF engineering brigade gets contracts to undertake public activities, which
And
relate
then
public
under
funds.
which law are they paid 100%? Under which law? Then, and that one now even opens us more to engineering brigade. You first sit. We gave money to Nambole. Nambole was supposed to, the work was given to engineering brigade. Nambole, we need a report from leader of opposition. It's almost the work. My brother will bear me witness. Not much has been done. Let's not cover things. Not much is being done. If they are not doing it well, they are not. I've seen you. Yes, honorable, you finish.
The clarification you sought about the law under which engineering brigade, which is a government entity, gets or does or undertakes contracts, government contracts. That is government to government now. That is government. Do we require a law in the first place? Information.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable Kavuma is trying to defend the engineering brigade. And he has a right. He has a right to defend his team. You get it, eh? So that is his opinion. That is his opinion, and he has done it very well. He has done it very well. There is no... Let the minister first say it. Honorable, we shall need a report. We'll need the report on Nambole.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your guidance. I'm getting to hear from you that there's a pending report from the LOP.
Yes.
That would be very much welcome. But as the supervising minister of the Engineers Brigade, we need to know, probably when you give us that opportunity, we come and give this parliament what that wonderful brigade of the army is doing. And how we got...
By the way, the engineering brigade, in terms of construction of schools, those hospitals, has done a perfect job. That one outside, they've done a good job. The only problem they have is on Nambole, because they don't have.
And a quick one on Nambole, I have been there. It's true that work is, we lost 4 months of our contract time. What is going on in Nambole, it is true that we've never renovated any stadium in Uganda or anywhere. It's a new thing, but all what is needed, where we are lacking the experience, we've been able to outsource, especially on grass, planting of grass and getting that grass. It's not the ordinary grass in our village schools. So, but if the wisdom of the guidance of the speaker, we can give full account. We have about 131 contracts, and out of which I think about 56, they are complete. And we have a story, but where there is a story, I think that if you
Why
give
don't
us
we have respect for each other?
And I might not be saying what you want to hear, but I'm speaking the truth. And I will always speak the truth. Whether you interrupt, it will never change the truth that UPDF came into this as a way following a presidential directive. The issues that we are grappling with in this parliament is the misfortune that the law that we make makes people to suffer, like the Honorable Minister of Finance. We make laws, we have constituencies, we have districts, but now the law that requires us to return the money, it affects everyone. And now when the law affects everyone, it is upon us to try to review and look for a solution.
Honorable, as a lawyer, is it right for an accounting officer to pay 100% when the contract is just being given without certificates of completion?
And this is what General Kavuma was speaking about. This is a new paradigm shift. This is a policy shift that will need the support of this House, so that if we see it works, we can fortify it by bringing the law here.
Before the law comes in place, is it correct as of now?
Yes. Yes, I can say yes 100 times, because if it is the same government of the Republic of Uganda has a project, procedure before I could.
No, he has something to say.
Explain.
You know, we need to learn from each other. What I'm asking him, is it correct? We are saying the advance payment should be 30%. Now in this case, the advance payment is 100. What I am asking as a lawyer, can you advise this House?
As a lawyer,
for us not to punish the accounting officers, because we are punishing the accounting officers for that. So we need to understand, is it correct for us to punish those accounting officers?
the Right Honorable Speaker, those are two things. I want to handle on the issue of the Engineers Brigade. Is it correct to give them 100% money, which is not in all cases, only a few cases relating to Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, we've had challenges. We've had also places, including Nambole, we've been given 25% of the money. They expect 100% of work. Now, government, please,
Yeah, let's hear from him so that
Musomesa.
Let's hear. Yes or
I'm being put to the spot that I answer the question. I'm trying to answer the question. And the straight answer to whether engineers, it is right to give Engineers Brigade 100%. And by the way, for the record, the answer is yes.
Using which law? Using which law?
The law that one would use, there is.
Honorable members,
No.
Members, please calm down. Honorable has answered that the law one would use. That is good enough.
No,
Honorable,
I wanted to give information, but the House seems to be hostile.
No, the House is not hostile. The House is just inquisitive.
Matters of law, Madam Speaker, and I know you're a lawyer, is not a matter that others are saying you don't have, you have.
Lob, can I hear from you?
Can I tell you for a fact that what is being done, if you get the concept of how the Engineers Brigade came into place, then you would know that it is in order.
Can I?
100%.
Can I hear from Lob? Lob? Let's first hear from you. Honorable members, listen.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. You know, good old OO is a friend of our good old times. And as a good lawyer, he knows what it means to die intestate. So in other words, he was here to make an application for letters of administration or for an intestate. But we can understand where he's coming from.
By the way,
But you know,
he comes from Tororo.
but he knows what it takes for letters of administration to be granted to an applicant. And I'm afraid his application has very many voids that render it void ab initio. It collapses, therefore. Not only Speaker, the report from the chairperson is good. And I want to appreciate him for that effort. Absorptive capacity.
Members, you can't even kill out for local government.
Challenges of release, absorption, staff recruitment, corruption, connivancy, ghost workers, pension challenges. All speak to almost an intestate situation that the good OO was trying to explain. And, you know, it's not part of the mandate of the committee to give a verdict on the functionality, feasibility, and later on, the viability of decentralization, Honorable Speaker. And I want to invite the House that probably this 11th Parliament, beyond the general debate you've had over the last 10 plus years I've been here, we have never made a proper diagnosis of this problem. But the cancer has been eating deep, deep, and deep until now. It is eating away at the bone marrow, Honorable Speaker. And I have no doubt this patient is a cripple sooner than later. We need to have a very potent conversation as to whether decentralization as a policy in the way it is crafted is viable. I had an informal conversation before here with the good general here about decentralization. And we were speaking about the several local governments we created, the small entities under the guise of taking services closer to the people. So instead of taking services, we actually took corruption closer to the people. We decentralized the corruption. Corruption is nearer to the people than the services. And you see, when you ask the ordinary man, he's still in corruption. If local governments were an equation and we have variables, corruption will be a permanent variable. I need a bulldozer to solve that equation. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to invite this House. I hear both sides of the House are discussing constitutional and electoral reforms. On my side, sooner than later, I'll table to the country what we are proposing. And I want to invite legislators who will be the final arbiters in this conversation to rethink the whole idea of devolution of powers. If we are serious about service delivery, in other countries, in other jurisdictions, where devolution is serious, there is even a formula for devolving funds to local entities that the center cannot even touch. Ours is open lax. If the Honorable Masasizi does not think well about me, my releases will come 10 days to end of financial and they return. That's how they work. You know, I'm not saying that he does it.
They return and they don't account for it.
Of course, that's another conversation, Honorable Speaker, and that's why we need to think of very serious reforms. You see, this is no longer a small short-term problem. In planning, the good minister knows, when you have a long-term problem, you go for reforms. If short-term, you go for adjustment. This requires reform, including changing legislation. For instance, who said that we cannot alter the PFMA to demand that the returned funds become part of the next financial year for that entity? You know, what stops us from changing legislation to ensure that the monies that are returned become part of the ceiling for that entity the following financial year? As part of stopping the lamentation as legislators, a private member can move that and we change the legislation. There's no legal bar. In fact, the bar is Parliament.
Actually, that's why I often need a private member to move on the 3%. The 3%, we as Parliament should know what that 3% is being used for. But that does not stop us from passing what has been passed, because it has already gone. So we will need to pass what has already passed, and then we bring in an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act.
The information I wanted to give Lob is that while you are looking for ways and means of coming up with legal reform, we should address our minds to the supplementary budget we normally pass at the exit door of the financial year. We have raised that concern that we pass billions, sometimes even trillions, as we are doing now, at the exit door of the financial year. What happens to that money? Because most of them involve procurement, and with procurement, you have to go through PPDA regulations and so on. So there is no way that you can spend those trillions of shillings within a space of 1 month or 3 weeks. So we need to address our mind. And I think the Minister of Finance must come back to us and tell us that this is the money you pass before July, and this is how we spent it. Because that money just disappears. We have never been able to know what happens to the trillions of shillings we pass at the exit door of the financial year.
Thank you, ma'am. Rightly so. And part of that reform, right, Honourable Speaker, will relate to operationalizing the contingencies fund. When you operationalize it, you actually do not need the supplementary. The law is very clear. The supplementary is indiscipline, it's abuse. We need to find a way of stopping it. Finally, right, Honourable Speaker, I want to encourage colleagues here to become active on your district road fund committees, because the law makes you bona fide members of these committees. And amongst yourselves, you can choose a chair. Over the last 10 years, I've been very active on my district roads committee. 5 years ago, I chaired it, and I turned around the community. These 5 years, Dr. Abed Bwanika is the chair. But we follow every penny voted to Masaka for the roads fund. It's very small money. Please for it. Get interested. Part of this is a bonanza for some of the technical people there. But part of the reason is because members of parliament are lax in following the road fund. Get interested. You see a difference. You probably could come to Masaka and this is how we work. You can't touch it. You cannot. Every quarter we sit. Every quarter we evaluate what has been done. Every quarter we follow. We go and visit the roads physically to see what has been done. You cannot show us the roads on paper. No way.
And that's what they call oversight. That's one of your roles as
So I want to
members of
encourage you, because you are members of the Roads Committee as per the Road Fund Act. In fact, go and buy the booklet of the Act and read and see the kind of obligations that rest upon your shoulders as members of parliament. This small money, before the Honorable Musasizi calls it and say it is potea, please go and supervise how it is used, because he needs it badly to do whatever God knows with it. But, Honorable Speaker, I hope at the end of this report, which I want to invite Parliament to adopt, we would follow up some of these recommendations, especially on areas of open abuse of public funds. And part of it is being condoned by recycling perennially corrupt public officers. You recycle them and make corruption endemic, and recycle until they are retired. Just imagine retiring as declared corrupt, and every report says you are corrupt. Every other document, every page you open on a report in parliament says you here, you stole here, you stole there. So we need to follow up, and probably a timely treasury memorandum will stand this report instead, right, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of course, we need a treasury memorandum within 6 months of adoption of this report. I now put a question that the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government, on the report of Auditor General's report for the financial year 2021-2022 on the 27 districts, local government, 3 cities, 4 divisions, and 5 municipal councils be adopted by this House. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. I now instruct the clerk to extract the resolutions of the whole report and actions to be taken and report back to this House on the actions taken by Treasury Memoranda, and that is under section 53(1) of the Public Finance Management Act. The chairs of all the committees, I want to request and urge you to go, and now that we have the core agenda, go and see on the harmonization of the core agenda. You are ex-officials of the budget committee. We are going to start on Tuesday on supply in the morning. I am now adjourning the house to Tuesday at 10.